Today in the studio, I'm working on modifying little trinket bowls. I purchased these silicone molds off Amazon. This little leaf one here works great, and this flower one has been working pretty well too. I like to use a little bit of pan spray to help release the clay out of the molds. It seems to be very helpful. I got a little ball of clay here that I'm going to shove into these molds here in a moment. And then I have all the tools laid out that I'm going to be using to make the trinket bowls. You can see in the background I have, it's probably about 13 pounds of clay, and I'm going to be throwing off the hump. For me, I like to use a wood knife to cut each bowl as I go, and then I can keep making and making and making and cut them off as I make one. I'll show you what that looks like. I also like a rounded Filbert brush with a long handle. That's one of my favorite things to kind of clean up little clumps and globs of clay. I also like this scoring tool. It works well for putting on the little silicone flowers, or I guess they're clay flowers, out of the silicone mold, and the leaves also. And you always have to have a needle tool. They come in very handy. My favorite rib, because it's super flexible, is just a generic metal rib. And instead of the scoring tool, you could use this serrated edge rib. Either one, this or the serrated rib, that works. Okay, let's first spray these with the canola oil. Maybe not go too crazy. That should be just plenty. If you feel like it, you could take a toothbrush and really shove that grease into the nooks and crannies, but we'll just rub it in. It will work. And I'm just going to make a couple while on camera, and then I'll make more, and I'm going to show you all the steps. This will probably be a 3-part video. I'm just going to press those in there. And do some of the bigger ones. And the grease will just burn off during firing, so not to worry. I think I'll do one more. I like how that one looks right there. Okay, and then while I have it in my hand, I'm going to just take and score it so it's ready to go. Oops, got a little carried away there. Okay, we'll let those rest for a couple minutes. Let's make a couple flowers. I really like that one right there. Let's make that one. You could also make cute little refrigerator magnets out of these too. And let's do this one right here that looks like a sunflower. Just gonna really try to pack those in there. This one kind of has some deeper nooks and crannies. And the same thing, I'm just going to score. And we'll let that rest. I'm going to move my tools and then center this big glob of clay. And I'm very left-handed. You'll notice that as we go. So I tend to orient my stuff on the left. And this is magic water. I'll use that to apply the little leaves and the little flowers in the bottom of the bowl. And I'm just gonna get this wet here. This is my smaller wheel head. It holds about 50 pounds, or sorry, rather 25 pounds. My other bigger wheel holds 50. And when you're throwing off the hump, you don't have to necessarily worry about the bottom being perfectly centered. The whole idea is that you're concerned about making sure the top is centered. And you can see that like right there, the bottom is definitely wobbly all over the place. But let's keep coning this top section up and down a couple more times. And if this bothers you, you can continue to try to make it a little bit more centered. One of the things is, the way I think about it is I'm always either pushing towards 12 o'clock or I'm pulling directly towards me towards 6 o'clock. Still a little out of center, lower, but again, like I said, when you're throwing off the hump, you just focus on the top part. So I'm gonna isolate the part that I want to be my bowl. And we're not gonna make it too crazy big. So I'm looking at the inside of my little bowl here because I want it to have a nice curvature. I don't necessarily think it's easy to trim the inside of a bowl. The outside's way easier to get to. Then I'm just gonna flatten out this top rim here. Find my sponge. Just kind of refining the curvature on the inside now. And because it still has all this mass underneath it, now it's the perfect time. I'm just gonna score, kind of visualize what size the leaf might be. These haven't been sitting for very long, but let's see if we can pop a leaf out. So there's the leaf. And there's a little bit of extra clay beyond the margins of what I want there. So I'm just going to take my needle tool and get that off of there. And probably not necessarily needed because it's so wet still, but it's going to put a little magic water. And you can probably see my recipe for magic water on the top of my clear bucket lid there. And then, so the magic water is 3 tablespoons of sodium silicate and 1.5 teaspoons of soda ash. That's my recipe. I just like to take my sponge, I wrung it out very well, and just apply some pressure to get that to set down inside of that bowl right there. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to kind of clean up some of that unsavory debris. And this will also help get rid of any unwanted scoring lines. And it just makes things easier if you clean as you go and fix little mistakes as you go too. I don't know if you can see, but I must have bumped it with my fingers. But that's an easy fix here. Just 1 second. Okay. We'll just fix that rim. And I will be trimming these later. That'll be probably video number 2. I'm just going to take my knife tool and slice it off. Definitely has a lot of meat left on the bottom of it, but that'll go away during trimming. And that one's done. I'll put that one right there. Let's make another one. And you certainly don't need much water when you're throwing small. At least I find that anyway. This is some of my recycled clay, which is predominantly Digi 6. And I buy that from Clay Art Center in Tacoma, Washington. It's nice, smooth clay. That one kind of opened up a little bit, so let's just collar it back down. Again, I'm just doing kind of a shaping pull. You don't need to pull very hard when you're throwing off the hump and they're small little pieces. I like that shape now. That's looking good. Okay, so we'll take our little scoring tool. This one I think I'm going to do a leaf and a flower. My hands are all gooky, kind of disturbing. Again, I'm just going to use my needle tool here and take off the little excess that's not part of the design that I want. And you could also use this to help kind of guide it where you want it placed. I know I kind of want the flower in the middle. Okay, let's see. Kind of might be mystery flower. That one turned out nice. That kind of got folded in a little bit. Certainly can tweak them a little bit more so they're not quite such sharp edges once they get to the bone dry stage. Okay. Again, you know what I think would work well too is like a little palette knife, because then you could drop it in perfectly. Oh, I like how that looks. Let's get it just a smidge closer. Okay, and again, I'm just grabbing my sponge here. I wrung it out very well. Just want to kind of push those down so they start adhering. And you don't necessarily need to use any magic water because the clay is, I mean, it's both the same consistency for the most part. I'm going to take my long-handled Filbert and clean up some of those excessive scoring lines. And I'm sorry if my hand's in the way. Darn it, being left-handed. I guess next time I need to probably put the camera set up over my right shoulder. Okay, now let's go ahead, put that there. I have that tendency, I put my tools in random places and then I can't find them. Just fixing that top rim. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and use the wood knife, and I like to kind of have the wheel going kind of slow, and I'm just keeping even pressure, and the idea is you're just cutting straight across. And for me that works the best. I've tried all kinds of different things like wire tools. It's not the easiest thing to do. Okay, so that's what that looks like, and then video 2 will be coming up. Please take a look at the tools in my description. I've included the silicone molds and several of the tools that I used today.